Welcome, beautiful damsels. The loudest noise in the room is often the least important voice. Sigma females embody this truth. They aren't ignoring you because they're rude or arrogant. They're ignoring you because they know better. Science says the average person spends 70 to 80% of their waking hours communicating. But Sigma females have one simple question: is it worth it? This isn't about playing hard to get or acting aloof for attention. For them, every interaction is a transaction of time, energy, and purpose. If the ROI doesn't add up, well, silence is golden. And let's face it, nothing frustrates people more than being invisible to someone they really want attention from. But why do they do it? Why do Sigma females glide through life with the stealth of a shadow, ignoring people who beg for their acknowledgement? The reasons are raw, unapologetic, and brutally fascinating. Strap in, because this isn't your typical self-help fluff. It's the cold, hard reality behind why Sigma females simply don't bother. And hey, if you've ever been on the receiving end of their icy indifference, take notes. You might just learn why they couldn't care less about impressing you. Number 1. Fakeness triggers their exit. Sigma females have a zero-tolerance policy when it comes to fakeness. It's not just a preference, it's an instinct. They can sense insincerity like a shark smells blood in the water, and once they detect it, there's no coming back. Fake smiles, over-the-top compliments, or exaggerated kindness don't impress them, they irritate them. For a Sigma, authenticity is the bare minimum, and if someone can't meet that standard, they're simply not worth the time. What sets them apart is their ability to see through people. They notice the little inconsistencies, a forced laugh, a calculated response, or a sudden shift in tone, and their gut reaction is to pull back. It's not paranoia, it's precision. Sigma females value depth, and surface-level interactions feel like a waste of energy. They'd rather invest in one genuine connection than juggle 10 fake ones. They also have no patience for flattery as a form of manipulation. A Sigma female can spot when someone is buttering them up to get something, and it doesn't just fall flat, it backfires. Flattery that lacks sincerity feels cheap, and they'd much prefer blunt honesty over empty praise. Ironically, this brutal honesty is what makes their loyalty so valuable. If a Sigma respects you, you'll know it's real. Fakeness isn't just a red flag for Sigma females, it's a deal breaker. They aren't afraid to walk away without explanation, leaving people confused and sometimes offended. But to a Sigma, the alternative is worse: entertaining shallow relationships that dilute their peace of mind. They're not playing hard to get or trying to make a statement. They're just unapologetically removing distractions, leaving only the people who truly deserve a place in their world. Number 2. Emotional baggage isn't their problem. Sigma females have an unshakable rule. They're not anyone's emotional landfill. When someone comes to them weighed down with excessive drama or a history of unresolved baggage, they don't hesitate to step back. It's not about being cold-hearted, it's about self-preservation. They understand that constantly absorbing other people's emotional chaos is a fast track to burnout, and they refuse to sacrifice their mental peace for the sake of being someone else's emotional crutch. Drama doesn't entice them, it exhausts them. They're not the friend who will indulge in endless venting sessions or the partner who will patiently wait for someone to work on themselves while bringing them down in the process. Sigma females have no problem supporting others when it's reciprocal, but when the emotional load is one-sided, they quietly disengage. This isn't out of cruelty, it's about boundaries. They also recognize the difference between a person seeking genuine support and someone offloading their problems without any intention of resolving them. The latter group is what they avoid like the plague. For a Sigma, there's nothing appealing about being stuck in the endless loop of someone else's emotional turmoil, especially when that person isn't actively trying to improve their situation. What makes Sigma females unique is their guilt-free approach to this. They don't feel bad for protecting their energy, and they won't stay in someone's life out of obligation. Their ability to detach isn't a lack of empathy, it's an awareness that they can't pour from an empty cup. They know that by staying clear-headed and emotionally balanced, they can show up for the right people when it truly matters. But for those who thrive on chaos, they'll find themselves quietly but firmly ignored. Number 3, they view ignoring as a boundary, not an attack. When Sigma females choose to ignore someone, it's rarely fueled by malice or a desire for revenge. For them, ignoring is not about being petty or creating drama. It's about setting a boundary to safeguard their peace and priorities. They don't see the need to explain or justify their decision to disengage. They simply act in alignment with what keeps them balanced and focused. To a Sigma, silence is a form of self-respect. They understand that not every conflict deserves their energy, and not every person warrants a response. Ignoring someone is their way of saying, "I see what's happening, but I won't participate." It's not avoidance. It's a refusal to engage in situations or dynamics that disrupt their mental clarity. This approach can be misinterpreted as arrogance or indifference, but in reality, it's a deeply intentional way of managing their time and emotional bandwidth. Their decision to ignore is often a reflection of their high standards. They don't tolerate manipulation, entitlement, or unnecessary negativity. Instead of arguing or engaging in endless explanations, they simply withdraw. This isn't because they lack the ability to confront. It's because they value their energy too much to waste it on battles that don't lead to growth or resolution. What sets Sigma females apart is how unapologetic they are about this. They don't feel the need to soften their boundaries for the sake of others' feelings. Ignoring, to them, is not an attack. It's a quiet act of self-preservation. It allows them to stay focused on their goals and maintain the inner calm they fiercely protect. If someone feels slighted by their silence, it's not their problem. A Sigma female knows her worth and isn't afraid to prioritize it, even if it means being misunderstood. Number 4, energy conservation is a strategy, not an excuse. For Sigma females, conserving energy isn't just a preference, it's a strategy they live by. They see their mental and emotional energy as a finite resource, and they refuse to waste it on anything or anyone that doesn't add value to their lives. Whether it's an unnecessary conversation, an unproductive meeting, or a relationship that feels one-sided, they instinctively avoid interactions that leave them feeling drained. This approach isn't about being antisocial or dismissive, it's about focus. Sigma females know that time and energy are their most valuable currencies, and they're not afraid to be selective about where they invest them. They operate with a laser-sharp clarity that helps them differentiate between what's essential and what's merely a distraction. Small talk, gossip, or mindless scrolling through social media. That's energy wasted. Deep conversations, meaningful connections, or working toward a personal goal. That's energy well spent. Their ability to disengage often confuses or frustrates others. People might label them as distant or uninterested, but in reality they're just choosing not to engage in things that don't align with their priorities. This mindset isn't an excuse to be rude. It's an intentional way of staying in control of their mental clarity and emotional well-being. Sigma females also recognize the hidden toll of constant interaction. Every conversation, every argument, every favor comes with a cost. By stepping back from unnecessary obligations, they ensure they have the capacity to show up fully for the things that truly matter. It's not about being selfish, it's about being strategic. They understand that protecting their energy isn't just a form of self-care. It's the foundation for achieving their goals and living life on their terms. Number 5, respect is earned, is their motto. For Sigma females, respect isn't handed out freely, it's earned. They have no interest in pandering to people who expect attention or admiration without offering anything of substance in return. Unlike those who might feel obligated to engage out of politeness or fear of judgment, Sigma females hold firm to their belief that relationships must be built on mutual value and respect. Anything less simply isn't worth their time. This mindset often sets them apart from others who may tolerate mediocrity in their connections. Sigma females aren't here to stroke egos or cater to entitlement. If someone hasn't demonstrated integrity, consistency, or genuine effort, they won't hesitate to maintain their distance. This isn't about arrogance, it's about maintaining standards. For them, respect isn't just a word, it's a core principle. One thing that defines a Sigma female is her refusal to entertain people who rely on superficial charm or social clout to demand attention. Status, titles, or popularity don't impress her. What matters is authenticity and substance. She sees through empty gestures and hollow words, recognizing when someone's actions don't align with their claims. This unflinching approach can make others uncomfortable, especially those who expect attention as a given. But Sigma females are unapologetic about their boundaries. They value their time and energy too much to invest in relationships that don't meet their standards. Their motto, "Respect is earned," isn't about being dismissive or cold. It's about prioritizing connections that uplift and inspire them. By refusing to compromise on this principle, Sigma females ensure that the people in their lives are those who truly deserve to be there. And if someone feels slighted by their distance, that's just further proof they weren't worth the investment. Number 6. They don't owe anyone emotional labor. Sigma females have a firm understanding of their emotional boundaries, and they're unapologetic about enforcing them. They don't believe they owe anyone emotional labor, especially when it's clear the person in question has no interest in doing the work to improve themselves. They aren't heartless, but they've learned the hard way that being someone's unpaid therapist can quickly turn into a one-sided drain on their time, energy, and mental peace. For them, emotional labor isn't about being there for a friend in need or lending support in tough times. That's a normal, healthy part of relationships. What they refuse to entertain are the people who constantly seek validation, advice, or sympathy without taking accountability for their own actions. These individuals are stuck in a cycle of venting rather than problem-solving, and Sigma females know that engaging with them is a losing game. What sets Sigma females apart is their clarity about this dynamic. They can spot when someone is looking for a solution versus when they just want an emotional sponge. The latter is where they draw the line. They understand that constantly propping up someone else's emotions while neglecting their own is neither sustainable nor fair. Ignoring such people isn't cruelty, it's self-preservation. This doesn't mean Sigma females are cold or unempathetic. On the contrary, they're often deeply understanding, which is why they're so protective of their emotional bandwidth. They reserve their support for those who truly value and reciprocate it. For everyone else, their silence speaks volumes. It's not their job to fix people, especially those who refuse to help themselves. By stepping back, they protect their peace and ensure they have the emotional capacity for the people and goals that genuinely matter to them. Number 7. Overthinking social niceties is exhausting. Sigma females don't have the patience or the energy to tiptoe around people's feelings just to meet societal expectations of politeness. For them, overthinking social niceties, carefully crafting every word to avoid potential offense, is an exhausting and unnecessary exercise. They value directness and clarity over sugar-coated pleasantries, and they firmly believe that honesty, even if it stings, is far more productive than wasting time on overly diplomatic wordplay. This isn't to say they're intentionally abrasive or unkind. They simply prioritize authenticity over appeasement. Sigma females understand that no matter how carefully they phrase something, there will always be people who find a way to take offense. And they've decided that catering to such sensitivities isn't their responsibility. If someone misinterprets their words or feelings, the Sigma sees that as a reflection of the listener's insecurities, not their delivery. To a Sigma, the endless pressure to please everyone with perfect politeness is a societal trap they refuse to fall into. They see it for what it is, an exhausting and often pointless effort that dilutes their message and wastes their time. Instead of trying to please everyone, they focus on communicating clearly and staying true to their values. If that means someone gets offended along the way, so be it. This unapologetic approach allows Sigma females to navigate life with a sense of freedom. They refuse to let the fear of stepping on toes dictate their behavior, and they're not afraid of being misunderstood. For them, authenticity outweighs approval every time. While others may spend hours agonizing over how to phrase a single sentence, a Sigma speaks her mind and moves on, confident that those who matter will understand, and those who don't aren't her concern. Number 8. They're immune to popularity contests. Sigma females are completely indifferent to the social games most people play to climb popularity ladders. They don't measure their worth by how many people like them, admire them, or follow them. For them, popularity is a superficial metric that holds no real value. This mindset makes them immune to the pressure of fitting in or constantly seeking validation, and it's one of the reasons they seem so unshakably confident. People who crave attention or thrive on external approval often find themselves baffled by Sigma females. They expect a reaction, whether it's admiration, jealousy, or competition, but are met with quiet indifference. A Sigma's refusal to engage in these unspoken popularity contests isn't an act of defiance. It's simply because they don't see the point. Their self-worth comes from within, not from the opinions of others. This attitude makes them almost invisible to those who demand constant attention. Sigma females aren't interested in entertaining egos, stroking insecurities, or participating in superficial exchanges that revolve around status. They see through performative behavior, whether it's exaggerated kindness, attention-seeking antics, or manipulative charm. Instead of playing along, they quietly disengage, leaving those people wondering why their usual tactics don't work. What makes Sigma females so intriguing is their refusal to compromise their individuality for the sake of being liked. They don't fear rejection, nor do they chase validation. They'd rather have a few meaningful connections than a crowd of superficial admirers. This selective approach may make them seem elusive or hard to understand, but it's rooted in their deep respect for authenticity. If someone is looking for constant approval, they'll find themselves overlooked by a Sigma. And the truth is, she couldn't care less. Number 9, they're future-oriented. Sigma females are always looking forward, and they don't have time to dwell on the past, either their own or anyone else's. While others might be stuck replaying old mistakes, holding grudges, or clinging to outdated grudges and what-ifs, the Sigma is already planning her next move, eyes firmly fixed on the horizon. This focus on the future is not just a mindset. It's a way of life. She's driven by growth, progress, and the pursuit of goals that align with her vision, not by nostalgia or regret. This future-oriented thinking leads Sigma females to quickly distance themselves from people who are constantly stuck in old stories, rehashing failed relationships, or lamenting missed opportunities. They don't have the bandwidth to entertain the endless cycle of negative reflection that often keeps people anchored to the past. If someone spends too much time focusing on what went wrong rather than what can be done next, they quickly lose the Sigma's attention. Rather than spending energy on rehashing history, Sigma females are actively building their future. They're too busy strategizing, learning, and expanding to engage in conversations that hold them back. If someone is unable or unwilling to move on from past failures, the Sigma will quietly withdraw, understanding that the energy spent in that space is far better spent elsewhere, on people and projects that reflect where she's going, not where others are stuck. In this way, Sigma females may seem detached or uninterested in the past. It's not about being dismissive or cold. It's about prioritizing what truly matters, the future. They don't need to rehash the same conversations over and over to feel validated. They're too busy creating a life that doesn't need the past to thrive. Number 10. Manipulative tactics are a deal breaker. Sigma females have a zero-tolerance policy for manipulation in any form. Whether it's guilt-tripping, gaslighting, or trying to coerce them into doing something against their will, they see these tactics as nothing more than attempts to control or undermine their autonomy. The moment they sense manipulation, they don't hesitate for a second. They cut the person out of their life faster than the manipulator can even process what's happening. What makes Sigma females particularly immune to these tactics is their strong sense of self-awareness and emotional clarity. They don't second-guess their instincts. When someone tries to twist their words, distort their reality, or pressure them into a decision, they immediately recognize the signs. Sigma females have a unique ability to see through lies and hidden agendas, and they don't waste time trying to fix people who operate from a place of manipulation. Trying to guilt-trip a Sigma is a surefire way to lose them forever. They simply don't respond to emotional blackmail. Instead of giving in to pressure or false narratives, they stand their ground with the quiet confidence of someone who knows their worth. They understand that manipulative people are often looking for validation through control, and they refuse to feed into it. For a Sigma, respect is non-negotiable. They're not interested in anyone who thinks they can bend them to their will with a few calculated words or emotional tactics. If someone crosses that line, they're out. No explanation, no drama. The Sigma knows that engaging with manipulative people is an energy drain they don't need, and they'd rather walk away with their dignity and peace intact than tolerate someone who plays those games. In a world that thrives on noise, expectation, and the constant pull for attention, Sigma females remain an undeniable force of calm and clarity. They are not swayed by the whims of social pressures or the need to conform to outdated norms. Instead, they operate from a place of unapologetic self-awareness, knowing that their time, energy, and kindness are sacred commodities to be shared only with those who truly deserve them. The rules they follow aren't dictated by anyone else. They are written by their own standards, deeply rooted in the pursuit of authenticity, peace, and personal growth. To misunderstand a Sigma female's silence, focus, or boundaries is to miss the point entirely. They are not cold, aloof, or unapproachable. They simply understand the value of protecting their inner world. They don't engage in unnecessary drama. They don't cater to manipulative behavior. And they don't waste time on relationships that don't contribute to their life's direction. They are fiercely independent, but that doesn't mean they are alone. Instead, it means they choose connections that truly matter, built on mutual respect and shared purpose. In the end, Sigma females aren't here to impress, placate, or fit into anyone else's mold. They walk their own path with an unshakable sense of who they are and where they're headed. And while others may scramble for approval or endlessly seek validation, Sigma females remain focused, poised, and unapologetically true to themselves. Because in their world, respect is earned, energy is sacred, and authenticity is the only currency that truly matters. If you've made it this far, it's clear you resonate with the depth and power of the Sigma female mindset. So why not take that next step? Hit that subscribe button and join a community that doesn't just follow the crowd, but embraces a world of authenticity, strength, and growth. By subscribing, you're choosing to surround yourself with content that empowers, inspires, and challenges the status quo. Don't miss out, because the journey to mastering your own path begins right here, right now. Let's walk it together. Thanks, damsels, for tuning in. See you in the next vid. Bye, and stay blessed.